Hello and welcome to the F1 and Motorsport show with me, Hugh Hattrick, and a very special guest, Simon Jerry. It's good to see you back again. How are you doing, Simon?
How you doing here? You all right?
I'm very well indeed. It's good to see you. And hopefully we'll have Rue in here as well in a few minutes' time. He has got the link, but no doubt he'll will come in a little while. And Max is here. Good to see you, Max. And welcome along for our F1 review of 2025. It's been an incredible year. Been a very exciting year. The race on Sunday, well, Lando did what he needed to do. But it was certainly it was a bit of a. I wouldn't say it was on a knife edge. I was more concerned about reliability. And when he finally crossed the line and got that championship, I thought, wait a minute, stewards, they'll be taking that under tray and everything else. So I was quite relieved after a few hours when we thought, no, nothing else has happened. And Ian is in here as well too. Good to see you, Ian. But to Simon, what did you think of the race on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I suppose these days in modern F1, we don't really worry about reliability, do we? It's not something. It's usually whether it is something that the stewards come along and say something after a race. So you still got like 24 hours of thinking. What else could go wrong? At least 2 or 3 hours. That seems to be more the regular thing these days. There's nothing to do what actually happens in the race. From a reliability issue these days, not like the old days. But I think a pretty straightforward race. Nothing really a lot happened, did it?
No,
I mean, I know people got a little bit concerned that Lando pitted and
at
put
the
himself in
start,
traffic,
yeah, and
but
you kind of lost a few places.
it wasn't like back in the day of 2010 when Fernando Alonso had no DRS. He just got stuck behind Vitaly
Yeah,
Petrov, and that was it. When you got
yeah,
DRS, it makes it a lot easier. And
yeah.
Yuki Tsunoda didn't really make it that difficult for him. I mean, at the
No.
end of the day, Tsunoda has been fired by Red Bull. Bit of a
Yeah,
strange decision by Red Bull to announce that. Why didn't they wait till after Abu Dhabi? Make him as if he's got a chance, maybe. And, maybe he would have tried a bit harder to keep Lando behind him. But there you go.
yeah. And we've got Camber, a new viewer. Good to see you in the
Hello.
comments there tonight, and welcome along. That you said even a bit of a snooze fest for the race, wasn't really much happening. It was kind of it was a bit indifferent, and I thought McLaren were almost throwing it away because they were kind of using Piastri as a kind of almost a test bed, just here and there, and they really kind of screwed his race because in the end he was not, I mean, yes, he did finish second, but it kind of you thought there wasn't really much for him to do, and he never really had a chance to kind of really take on Max. Max was just driving off into the distance there, wasn't it? But it's and then Lando just did almost a bit like Prost. He just kind of did his race and didn't try too hard, didn't push too hard, and eventually got there. But yeah, you kind of wonder.
Yeah, he
There
just
wasn't.
came alive when he needed to overtake those cars he needed to. That's,
Yeah, yeah.
to be fair
I
to
mean,
him, all right, yeah, we can all say DRS was an advantage, but he did the job what was there put before him. So that's all you can ask.
yeah. It was quite interesting because as we were watching it, we thought, call Leclerc. Leclerc was pushing Lando quite a bit, and he looked okay. The Ferrari looked quite reasonable here and there, didn't it? It looked like it had a bit of pace for maybe 5 to 10 laps, especially in the opening stints. It was quite good, and then of course it kind of calmed down a wee bit, and poor Leclerc then kind of struggled to keep up. But it certainly it was yeah there was just enough to maybe keep it interesting if you're a Lando fan. I think like any British fan out there, you're kind
I'm
of
sure
hoping and
they
wondering.
were all pretty nervous, but if I'd have been a Lando fan, I think I'd have been fairly calm because not a lot, like I say, it was going to plan.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I was like said to you before the stream started, I was laid up in bed. I was sort of half keeping an eye on it on the web and so forth, and nothing seemed to be changing much. So I thought, yeah, it looks like it's going to happen. So
yeah, yeah. Now, Ian is saying Red Bull screw themselves with a penalty. That and now was that because of Takuma Sato, wasn't it? Because when he kind of went across, he almost pushed Lando over the white line, didn't he? Because they were
oh,
worried about
Snowder, yeah,
yeah
yeah,
Spinoda.
yeah.
But I mean, Max was in
Again, but they
incredible
all
form.
do it, don't they? They all, like they say, oh, you're not supposed to move twice. So I thought, well, everyone seems to do it, especially on the
Yeah,
first lap when they're trying to break the toe. They're all weaving about all over the place. I don't know how they get away with it, because they
yeah.
shouldn't be doing that. Um, but But then again, I remember Mansell doing it to Senna in the Australian Grand Prix at the end of '92 when Senna suddenly had a bit of pace in the
Yeah.
McLaren and he was weaving on the Brabham straight to try and break the toe. But there you go. They
Yeah.
all do it.
Yeah. It's quite funny because I know certainly in terms of the British fans and the British media that and the commentators that do it in the old days when it was Mansell, you had Murray Walker and he was like I remember in '92 when he was going to win that race in Hungary, and it was like everything just keep calm. He's almost there. He only needs to finish in the top 3 or the top 4, whatever it was, and eventually he's there. And of course he finished second in the race and Senna won it, but he was the world champion. Because I think it'd been such a long time since they'd had the British world champion. They were desperate for it to happen. And of
Yeah.
course, Mansell was such a big character at that point. So it was incredible. But now Ian is saying that Barcelona cost him. Of course, that's when he bumped into George Russell, wasn't it? That's when he tried to.
Well, didn't he have a bit of an altercation with a journalist about that? Someone asked him that question after the
Yeah,
race. So, do you regret that incident? And he said, Why do you ask me that question? There's 23 other races of blah blah blah. It's typical English journalists. You're going to be a stupid grin now. I mean, yeah, it is. It's not just that race. It could be any other races where they struggled. So, but that's how it is. I mean, at the end of the day, look at how far Lando was behind Piastri at the Mexican Grand Prix, and
yeah,
that wasn't
yeah.
that long ago.
Yes, it's funny how it really changes around.
Yeah.
And
I
but I
think
don't
Oscar
think.
just suddenly felt the pressure all of a sudden. I don't
Yeah,
think I know he was saying, "Oh, the car feels different," but I don't think so. It's
yeah,
just pressure just suddenly got to him.
yeah,
But hopefully he'll learn and come out stronger next year. But it'll be just interesting to see will it be the same team order next year or will it change?
yeah.
It's
You kind
going
of
to
felt
be up in the air now.
that McLaren were they so easily threw it away and so many, but it was kind of very fragile. They had a great car, but they kind of you really felt that their team orders and also their kind of their planning wasn't great. And it was and that's where there's Max kind of making the most of it, like we saw in
Mm.
Qatar.
Well, it's
They all came
almost like
in and they didn't.
they're trying to let their drivers race, but also bring in team orders to make it fair as well, which is very difficult to do.
Yeah,
It's to get that right. I mean, it's all right. Everyone's saying, "Oh, what a great comeback from Red Bull." Yeah, but the other driver doesn't get a chance to compete.
yeah,
They're all fully behind Max, so it's a
yeah,
one-car team. Simple
yeah,
as that. That's
yeah,
what it's impressive. But let's just look at it this way: they do put everything behind Max, and
yeah,
McLaren tried to do it. Shall we say? You can almost say the fair way by giving both drivers a chance, which Red Bull just don't do. They,
yeah,
they can't
yeah,
run two drivers. They just don't know how to do it. Not since
yeah,
Vettel and Webber. And obviously they've learned from that where it nearly went disastrously wrong. They've never allowed the second driver to get anywhere near it again.
yeah. I mean, my next question is: do you think Hadjar, who's going to replace Sonoda next year, I kind of feel for him because they're all putting
Yeah, it'll
it's
be
almost like,
another
do we really
driver,
want that second seat at Red
another
Bull? We're quite
driver whose
happy.
career will be ruined. These young drivers, their confidence will be absolutely slashed because you look at Lawson, he's looking
Yeah,
good again.
yeah, yeah,
Put
yeah.
him back in the second team and he looks fine. It just proves that they're not interested in a second driver. Just doesn't get the support that what Max does. Max makes sure that he gets everything to his side. So
Yeah,
um, I'm not saying that's a wrong thing or a right thing. It's just that that's how they decide to do it, and that's how The only trouble is they struggle to win a constructors championship that way. They might be
yeah,
competitive in a drivers championship, but you know
yeah,
Even
yeah.
with, I mean, Sergio Perez, I mean, he's not a bad driver, but the times he was going out of Q1 numerous times,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I think
um,
also it is a very hard bit, and also he had been there a long time. And Cameron says he thinks Hadjar might actually be a surprise. He's got a really aggressive driving style, which might actually deal with Max's preferred setup. Yeah, which is true because I mean he has done okay. Of course they're getting Ford engines as well, aren't they? That's the other thing that's coming around seemingly, according to Ian.
yeah,
And Max has said you can't really have two good drivers in a championship winning car without eventually falling out. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, I think the McLaren boys have really been on best behaviour. I mean, I'm kind of amazed actually how well they've gotten on when you think how close it was. But I do wonder how close Piastri was to
yeah.
saying he's going
I,
to go
I understand
elsewhere.
what Max is saying, but what it is with Red Bull is they just can't. run a team with 2 competitive cars where a car can be competitive. Because
Yeah,
Yuki Tsunoda's not an idiot. He's not a bad driver. We've seen that in the lower, the second junior Red Bull team.
yeah,
So it's just that for some reason they put all their eggs in one basket and then don't really support that other driver very well at all. And he only literally qualified well for the first time in the previous race or whatever, didn't he? So
yeah,
but we saw it all season. We've seen it for the last 2 or 3 years, where for some reason they just don't want to support a second driver. I'm not saying they want to support him for a championship, but at least make him competitive. You want them finishing on the podium, being there to be able to support your number one driver, and that isn't happening. So
yeah. No, it's a thing. It was very funny because everybody stopped when they saw Lando's girlfriend, Maggie, I think, who is a model. Because it took him quite a while to actually find her in the crowd by the time he was asked all these questions, and
I
there were
didn't
so
see
many
that.
questions. Oh, it was quite funny. Even the commentators kind of kept saying, "Oh yes, that's Maggie, his girlfriend. Let's look back at his girlfriend." You know, it was quite funny. But no, it was. I mean, there were so many questions as well. Once he got out the car, they asked him questions, and he got interviewed by, was it
How do you
Jensen
feel?
Button? And then it
Oh,
was
I feel
Martin
awful.
Brundle. You know, it was like they were continually. And then now here's a question that maybe some people in the comments might have, or perhaps you might know, Simon. See them on the podium. Now, is that a podium that kind of withdraws back into the pits, or is it permanently across? Because I don't remember seeing it being across the road or across the over the pit lane when they
It
were
might. It's
coming
a
in and
pretty
out.
new track, isn't it? So I won't be surprised if it does
If it
go
moves,
across. Maybe. I haven't noticed, to be fair. Maybe the
yeah,
next time you play Gran Turismo 7, see if it's there when you're driving past it. If it's there, you
yeah.
know it's there all the while. If it's not, I have to
and
look back at some footage to see if it was
uh,
there. But
and
it's a
what
bit,
did
I
it?
mean, like the one at Monza is always there now, isn't it? It stays there. It's a permanent thing. They walk across the pit lane, don't they?
Yeah, it's quite
To
good. I
that
do
one.
quite like that. Yes, Helen is here. Yes, we're missing Rue. We don't know where Rue is tonight. But he has got the link, but hopefully he'll come and join us at some point. But I'm sure unless he's not feeling well, but hopefully he'll join us a bit later on. But it was quite interesting as well because right after the race they had the quiet room. You know, when they all sit there in the back there, and it was incredibly quiet. And you had Max and Piastri who had been waiting there for quite some time, and eventually Lando came in, and they kind of had a little chat here and there, but it was so quiet. It was kind of like what are they going to say? You know, I don't think it was tense. I think maybe they were just kind of knackered, or maybe they were just
Yeah,
kind
just
of
the adrenaline, isn't it? When it wears off,
yeah,
when you got to say if they've been waiting for so long, then the adrenaline actually has
yeah,
drained off, so they just sit there in the end and they ain't got no energy to talk. At
yeah,
first, you've got the adrenaline there still pumping through, and you can have a chat about it, but sometimes it does kick in. You know, when that sort of drains off,
yeah.
they just.
Yeah, no, it's kind of what I think, and of course they had that huge build up, and I do quite like the way that they come running out onto the podium. And first of all, well actually Lando first, wasn't it? And then it was Piastri, and then it was Max to take the winner's trophy. But it was great that because Lando finished on the podium, he was still able to celebrate with them, and then you had the proper world championship
Yeah,
celebrations
yeah.
that were on it. Now we have an answer to our question here.
Yes, yeah.
It is the podium bridge is permanent. In fact, I'll put it on the main screen here. The podium bridge is a permanent feature. Just looked on Google Maps. Ah, it's fantastic. So yes, it's. I thought it was quite good. There's no doubt they do these amazing things for the tracks. I would love to go to Abu Dhabi actually and see that track because it does look fantastic. But so thank you very much for that, Camber. And now, Helena said that Rue may well be asleep because he was a bit tired earlier on. So hopefully he'll feel a bit better and we'll see him very soon. But no, it is quite a thing. But let us know in the comments as well your main talking points. What would you like us to chat about as well if we've missed anything on the F1 review so far? Because we always like to hear your thoughts and we'll do our best to answer your questions. But it has been an interesting year. And of course, looking on to next year, who is going to make the most of the new regulations? Some people have said Mercedes could be very good. I think Ferrari might just be there, because they've abandoned ship on their car this year very early on. and I wonder whether they might just have been able to do something with next
Are
year's
you
car.
being paid by Ferrari here? You
I
keep plugging
wish.
this for the last
I wish.
4 or 5 weeks, saying,
I can
"Oh, maybe
barely.
Ferrari will be up there this week."
I can barely afford a Fiat, let
Well,
alone a
don't we
Ferrari.
all? I
So
mean, look, we know. I mean, I think the British listeners want Lewis to at least have some sort of success with Ferrari. We don't want his career to
yeah, to
turn
finish
into
like
a
this.
damp squib of an end. Like some other drivers, it has happened. You can
Yeah,
say with Vettel, who was not really competitive at the end of his career.
yeah,
Mansell, when he had his awful McLaren debacle.
yeah,
Some other drivers that just went off the radar after that. Yeah, we don't want that to happen. We'd like to see him at least be successful for a little
yeah,
bit. It don't necessarily a championship, but win 2 or 3 races would be something special. I mean, the sprint race isn't really the same, is it? So, yeah, because he looks. I mean, to be fair, I get a little bit annoyed when he comes out there and he looks as though like the worst thing. Christ, you're in a Formula. Your job is a Formula One driver, which loads of people wish they could be, and he acts as if the world is going to end the next
yeah.
second in his interviews. But
Yeah,
it must
he
be
won't answer
frustrating.
it. He doesn't say anything when Lewis
Yeah,
is interviewed,
it
isn't it?
is. It
It's just
comes across as rude and a bit obnoxious, really. I'm
yeah,
sure he's not, but that's what it comes across as. And he has to
yeah,
remember sometimes, but sometimes they get to the point in their career where, I don't know, maybe he just doesn't care anymore. But
yeah.
then if he doesn't, move over, let someone else come in. But
Yeah, I think I think what showed as well in the race on Sunday is that even Leclerc struggled because they had shown some pace and Hamilton did come through the field a bit. But I think they've got it
yeah,
has
but
shown that car has been
he's been
not great
faster
this
than
year.
him all season, hasn't he? Leclerc,
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at the qualifying results between the two, it's a bit embarrassing, really.
yeah,
For
yeah,
some of Hamilton's caliber. So, and some people were saying it, weren't they? Saying that, I think Leclerc's going to put him in his place. So, when someone's already established in the team, it's sometimes difficult. And I think maybe Lewis thought he could just walk in there and change everything. And you
yeah,
can't. I mean, the only reason why Schumacher, it took Schumacher, 4 years to win a title. And
yeah,
he
yeah,
took Ross Brawn, Rory Byrne, those sort of people with him. Lewis took no
yeah,
one, in
yeah,
terms of an engineering side of things. So he's working with a completely bunch of new people who he seems to. It doesn't seem as though it's gelling. It's
no,
taking. It doesn't look settled,
yeah,
as if he's really fitting in with how it works. Trouble is, Ferrari have their way, don't they? It's either
yeah,
the Ferrari way or no other way.
yeah,
And the only person, as far as I remember, that was able to shake things up was Nicky Lauda
yeah,
when he
yeah.
went in there.
And when
And no
they've
one else
gone,
has ever really been
yeah,
able to go in there and tell them this is crap.
yeah, yeah.
Even since Enzo Ferrari's death, no one's allowed an opinion, and they don't like to listen to advice. It's a Ferrari way or not.
I mean, it was interesting because when Lewis left McLaren to go to Mercedes, I think that was a much more sensible decision. And also the Mercedes team was building up and building up, and you could kind of tell it was going to go somewhere. I think they had very very strong people in there, and I don't think. And also, they've had the Schumacher era as well in there, so there was so much in it, and very very good people running the team. And I think Ferrari have struggled in this last wee while. I mean, they never quite. When they're on it. But it takes, as you say, it takes a more European or more European. But Schumacher, as you say, he was able to do it because I think he had that kind of hindsight and also that very very incredibly
Yeah,
intelligent
and
man.
they
And
allowed him to bring the people he thought
yeah,
he needed
yeah,
to come in to be able to make a success of it.
yeah,
Ross Brawn and Rory Byrne were two very essential cogs. I don't personally think you would, if say Ross Brawn and Rory Byrne had never gone, I don't
yeah,
think you would have had the domination of what Michael Schumacher enjoyed.
yeah, yeah,
Michael Schumacher couldn't do that himself. He had
yeah,
to get those people in around him, like he
yeah,
had at Benetton. They were the right people. He knew the people who made him successful. So, he took the right people with him.
yeah.
I think that was all part of it. And yeah,
I will put on some pictures that I've got here from
Oh,
Autosport. Can you see it there?
yes, I can.
Yep. And now Helen has said Lewis really struggled to settle with the Ferrari team. It almost felt like they didn't really want him to be there.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's like that, isn't it? It's like
you
anything.
can.
It's like
That's
when a
after
new
they met
player
him.
goes to a football team, a new player that goes to a football team that's on wages way more than everyone else. It
Yeah,
sometimes upsets the apple cart. And I should think he's on a lot more money than what Charles Leclerc is. And
yeah,
so when they're already sort of, maybe Leclerc is a popular guy amongst the team, and you
yeah,
get Lewis come in, and it's hard to say. It looked like he was welcomed in, but the trouble is, does he do the work that what Charles does? Maybe they've realised he doesn't put the work in now,
yeah,
like he did, or maybe he wasn't the person they expected who was coming in. Once they've seen everything sort of in the background.
yeah.
Hard to say.
Yeah, it's. I think maybe they get really, there's so much money involved, big contract. It's a lovely way to do it. Although I never really felt it was quite a surprise that Lewis wanted to go to Ferrari because, I don't know. I would have thought maybe there were other teams. I mean, if you wanted to be really competitive, you could have maybe gone to Red Bull, or you could have taken that on. But I
Yeah, but
suppose
I think it's
Ferrari
just
were there.
It's the mark, isn't it? Ferrari is the team
Yeah,
you want to succeed with. Sebastian and Fernando failed at
yeah,
Ferrari. They
yeah,
didn't win the world championship, so he wants to go there and prove that he can do it.
yeah,
So it's what happens. It's ego, isn't it? It's
yeah,
ego. I can go in there. I can show them how to do it. I mean, at the end of the day, Fernando was very close 2 times, and that was probably with a car that was not the quickest car.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Ah,
and
Parky.
you
Yeah,
sometimes think with Lewis that he needs a competitive car to stand a chance. So,
yeah.
though he sometimes
Yes,
made the McLaren that was never, when sometimes that wasn't competitive, still looked quick, but he's just not as young as he used to be. No,
yeah,
I mean, you can't. I'm no expert, but it's just from my eyes looking from outside in. He just doesn't look as motivated as he used to be.
yeah,
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 but who
yeah.
knows?
Now, Ian is saying that the WEC team, the World Endurance Championship, and that's that Ferrari have been very good at that. In fact, did they not win the championship? I think.
I
I
believe
think
so.
Ferrari
Yeah,
won that. Yeah, so that maybe more of their
mm.
efforts are going into that. So you have to kind of think.
Maybe
eh,
he'll go into that.
Yeah, you just. I mean, I just think that you can't spread the manpower as much if they want F1 to win, and that's what gets them, I suppose, so much publicity and so many sales. I mean, I used to remember. I mean, in years and years ago, they were selling something like $400 million worth of merchandise at Ferraris, and they sold more than they did at the cars, wasn't it? I mean, it was their profit
Yeah,
margins in these things are huge. Sim racing on PS3 is here. Good to see you. I think that might be Umar. But it's good to see you all. But yes, we're doing our F1 review, and we have pictures. We have pictures, and here's a great man here. It's Fernando Alonso. Look at him; he's giving them a massage. The top three drivers there. He did that. I saw that on one of the videos. But he is running to his car and very much enjoying the F1. I think he's going to be quite excited about next year to see the changes in his team.
yeah. But the only thing is, I'd say, the only thing I've got concerns for him is that Adrian Newey is going to be the team principal, not the designer. That is what concerns me. But I just don't think Adrian Newey is a team principal.
Yeah, yeah,
But as I always say, prove me wrong. Prove me
yeah.
wrong. We'll see. We'll see. But he just doesn't come across as being a team principal, but always the best designer of our time, without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It
I
is
can't
amazing, actually, isn't
see.
it?
I'm surprised he wants to be a team principal. I didn't think that was his sort of thing.
Yeah,
But there we go.
yeah. And there we have Charles Leclerc, who has done a good year. I think he's certainly not done himself any harm by beating Lewis as well. He's improved his credibility and shown just how good he can be. So yeah, it's kind of and next year, if the car improves, if Lewis can get a grip on it, well, maybe it'll be a bit closer. But he's definitely, I would say, Leclerc is the number one driver just now. I think he's certainly kind of he does well. I mean, he's totally left Lewis behind, apart from that win in the sprint race in China. which kind of gave us all hope, thinking, oh, maybe he's got something there, maybe he's gonna be able to do more, but it just evaporated after that. Oh, are you there, Simon? Or has his screen frozen? I think his screen may have frozen. That hopefully we'll get Simon back in a wee second. It looks like his screen is frozen, but so he'll come back in because he's got the link. Now there is the man, Max Verstappen, who did an incredible job on Sunday. There really kind of raced away from everybody, and has done the last 6 races to be so far away and then to win so many times and to do such an incredible run. I think that is an incredible effort, and really, it was McLaren's to lose, and Max really. I mean, you think one more race, and he probably would have had it. It was quite a thing. But we'll just hopefully I won't be on my own for too long. Hopefully we will see Simon back in a few minutes. Let's have a look at the comments. Now we have Umar, who is saying he did a 9-hour race on Tuesday and got P1. That's pretty good doing. And he's going to start a 24-hour race today. I hope you can save it. Ah, yes, you can save your progress. That Max is saying lots of love for that. And he also broke a world record at Susuba. And the past time in that car was a 35.8, and he got a 29.2. That is very, very good indeed. And Helen is saying, Max the legend, that comeback was absolutely incredible. Easily driver of the year. Yes, he did show just how good he was and really how much better he is than the others. It's going to be very interesting. Can he keep that up for next year? Will the Red Bull be in a good place next year? So let's have a look here. Here we are. And somebody says, got to go sleep. Take care, everyone. Good to see you, Umar. It's always good when you join us. And Max has said he shouldn't have been in the running. He put up a good fight. I mean, when you think halfway through the season, we had counted him out. They thought there's no way he's going to be anywhere near. And then all of a sudden, he brings it back. He gets that car by the scruff of its neck and gets it round the track. Starts winning races. I mean, I think he had 11 podium finishes on the trot, which is really quite an incredible performance, which is the thing. Now let's see. Let's see. Oh, we've been offering lots of free trials here for more followers on Kick. And if you're watching from Kick, welcome along. It is good to see you on the F1 and Motorsport F1 review for 2025. But yes, let me know your thoughts, as Simon will hopefully rejoin us in a few minutes. Rue unfortunately wasn't able to join us today, and Simon was here with us for a few minutes, but I'm sure he'll be back. It'll pop up there in a few minutes' time, I'm sure. Maybe his internet has gone down. But let's look at more of the pictures, and we will have more talking points. There is the man, Fernando Alonso, doing a great job. And there is Albon. Now, Alex Albon has kind of slightly been left behind a little bit since the Carlos Sainz really got to grips with his car kind of midway through the season. Because at one point, he was really outpacing Sainz, and he was doing some great times, some great performances, getting up there in the points and having quite consistent points finishes. But it certainly seemed to go away from him, and Sainz has really shown how good he is. Do you think that Williams car next year might be able to do a bit more? Do you think they can potentially get maybe a podium? I mean, Sainz had 2 podiums this year. I think it was something. He had a 3rd place, didn't he? Maybe even 2 on the trot, which is fantastic. But has Albon got what it takes to be right up there again next year? We will have to see. Now, we have Helen saying, up to halfway through the season, it was a 2-horse race. Max should never have been in the running. He's really worked hard to even become a contender. That is absolutely true. I mean, I'd kind of, for me as a Lando fan, I kind of thought I didn't really want Max to be in it. I thought, great, he's out the picture. We've only got a chance of getting a British title here. But then of course he came right back into it. But it did make it an incredibly competitive championship. I think the McLaren's being disqualified in Vegas really did cost them, and that was kind of, I thought it'd have been interesting to see just how close it was on that under tray, or were they making it for television? But certainly for everyone watching, it did make it a lot more exciting. Now I've got a couple of messages here which I will quickly check to see in case they're trying to get back in, but no, they are not. So sorry. Simon's internet has died. So, okay, not to worry. We will, yeah, we'll go back here. There we are. Oh, there you are. Yes. So there we go. His internet has died. So unless it comes back up, you've got me. You've got me. Right. Let's get through these pictures here and we'll see what we have. Oh, we've got Antonelli again. What do you think of Antonelli? I think he showed a pretty strong performance. Obviously not as consistent as George Russell, but pretty good overall. I mean, certainly, he's gotten good in qualifying. The Mercedes was there or thereabouts, but just not quite as consistent as the McLarens. But I do like this picture, though, of Alonso giving Max a kind of shoulder massage there. Similarly, he did it to all top 3 drivers, to Lando as well, and to Piastri. He's showing that he's still, he obviously loves the sport. He must feel quite relaxed to be able to enjoy the whole thing. But I have to say, I was impressed. It's nice to see Fernando enjoying himself, considering when he went to McLaren Honda and he said, remember, he had the F2 engine, he was saying, and so many retirements. Now, there we have the Alpine drivers of Pierre Gasly and is it Lawson? No. It was originally it was Jack Doohan, wasn't it? Now, who is the other driver there? Anas Colapinto. Colapinto, it's there written down. That's an interesting one. I think Alpine might be quite good next year. I just have a feeling they might just have improved a bit, and with these new regulations, because sometimes it's almost like the rabbit out of the hat, isn't it? The kind of one team will just be able to get a hold of those regulations and make it work. But all right, now Helena said, my daughter likes Antonelli mainly because she thinks he's cute. Nothing to do with his driving skills. So no hope for her. Well, I can understand that. It's quite a thing, but no, he seems like a decent driver. So let's see what is next. And there is Max Verstappen. He's had 4 titles on the trot and didn't quite make it to 5, but was incredibly close. I think, as you say, one more race and then that would have been over, and I think he probably would have had it. And there is poor old Tsunoda leaving Red Bull. Now, yes, that was the interesting thing. When we were watching it live, the team radio from Tsunoda, when they were saying, right, make sure you kind of hold up Lando as much as you can. And he says, yes, leave me. I know exactly what to do. We talked about this before. And I thought if he says any more, there's going to be a huge lawyers or stewards inquiry because, what is he going to do? Is he going to try and take him out? And he did push him off over the line and, of course, then got that penalty. But then when the other cars came up to him, like Leclerc and the others, there wasn't an issue at all. It was hilarious. Oh, here is Jerry. He's back with us. Give me 2 seconds and he's back. He must
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear. Yes, you're there. You're on screen again. We're great to see you. We've got you back.
Sorry about that, mate. My internet has died a death. I'm having to rely on 4G here, so I don't know how long this will last.
Oh, it's good to see you back. Well, we have been talking about the very funny team radio with it was with Tsunoda and his engineer, and he said, I know what to do. We talked about this before. And he was like giving all the secrets away as if this had been completely planned and he was going to try and take out Lando any time. It was brilliant. And we thought if he said any more, he'd be, and if you had taken Lando off completely, that would have been it. There would have been a huge inquiry and so on. But it was hilarious when he kept saying.
Well, like I said, I don't think he really cared, did he? Because he was out of a job anyway. So.
Yeah. Oh, it was very, very funny. And it was brilliant. Now, Helena said he didn't do too badly, to be fair to him. Plenty of potential in young Antonelli. We've been going through the teams and the drivers there. I said, I think Alpine might do quite well next year. I wonder if they'll go up the field a bit with the new regulations. We'll have to see. And Natcap said, how many championships do you think Max will have to win to be considered the GOAT? Well, I wonder. I'm not so sure he wants to have all those titles. I don't know if he's like Lewis or like, Schumacher that went on to make as many as he could. But you kind of think if that Red Bull is good again next year, I think it's his for the taking. It's just going to be, can Red Bull adapt?
The trouble is, I think, as we've discussed many times, it's very difficult to say, the GOAT of all time is so difficult to. The generations always differ, don't they? And, some drivers just will not fit into other generations. So, I mean, Max will be probably the great of the 2020s. He will be the GOAT of the 2020s, I'm sure, without a doubt. Lewis will be of the 2010 till 2020. And Schumacher before that. So.
Yeah. It's a new era, isn't it? And it's funny how, from watching
I
Formula
will
One
keep
for
just
so long.
I'm just getting an orange light on my router, so.
Oh well, if you got, as long as you got 4G, you should be all right. It's funny how the things change, wasn't it? I mean, like when Schumacher retired, or even like watching it from the 90s when you had the like Mansell and Senna, and obviously Senna went away, it was tragically cut short. But like Prost and all these drivers that come and go over the years, and there's always this new group that come in. And now in this modern era of 2025, we've got Lando, we've got George, you've got Verstappen. It's such a mixture, but there's so many great talents coming through, and there's more British drivers coming, and they're really being represented well from all over Europe and all over the world, and it's constantly changing. And you kind of never think, well, who's going to have that extra, that kind of golden quality to make them kind of stand out? I mean, so that we've seen that in Lewis because of his success. I don't think has he had the charisma of maybe other drivers. I don't think so, because even Schumacher had charisma, maybe because people didn't like him that much, or he was quite controversial. And Max has maybe had a little bit of that, but I don't think we've had really since the Schumacher era. We've not really had that kind of driver that's really stood out in that way. That has been such a big thing in the sport. What do you think, Simon? Do you think the current generation is anyone in there that could be as strong as that?
Yeah, I mean, they do become a bit like robots, don't they? I mean, Jensen was good.
Yeah,
Jensen Button. He has a personality, doesn't he? And I'm thinking through world champions and Seb. To be fair, once he realised his sense of humour was quite good, even for a
yeah,
German. And Fernando, to be fair, as well, at times.
yeah.
So there's a smattering of it a little bit, but yeah, you know. But now this young generation coming through now, yeah, they're all a bit down the straight line, aren't they? They don't like to go too far out of the comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, it's great to see everyone. I'm just looking at we've got over 50 people watching, which is fantastic. I'll put a quick message here.
I can
Let
see
me know
those
when.
pictures, but obviously I can't really see any of the chat very well, I'm afraid.
That's all right. That's all right. The main thing is that Simon, you're here with us. Even if you're on mobile internet, it's still working. So we'll go through now. There's the chat there. From it is of course the Haas team. We've got Ocon and we've got Oliver Behrman. And I have to say, Oliver Behrman has really impressed me this year. He's one of my favourite drivers. I think he's outperformed that car and really showing some great qualities. What do you think, Simon? Do you think he's a star of the future? Oh, is he there? Can you hear me? But well, yeah, Behrman for Rookie of the Year. Yeah, I would say, Max, I would agree with that. I think definitely he has really shown. I mean, he's always been ahead of Ocon, pretty much, isn't it? And really did pretty well. I mean, I would even say he's done a better job. I mean, Hadjar had probably the better car when you think he's in that Racing Bull. But that Haas, which was never anywhere near as strong.
He's got the
Um,
potential to be. We always see it, don't we? We see quite a few drivers have that potential, but they don't really carry it on. So,
yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. And we've got Baikaremi, Baikarem 1905 in the chat, and he just said Osama bin Russell. But it's in terms of I don't think he's thrown it away too much. But yeah, Russell's been in there. But yeah, I certainly think that Behrman has done a great job, and I think is another star of the future. And it's great to see them coming through. Now
Can
we'll
you
go
hear
through.
me, Hugh?
Yes, yep, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hello.
Yep. And Helen also has
I,
said Behrman has excellent potential. Can you hear me now? Hopefully we'll get there. Now let's have a look at some more of. There's George Russell and his girlfriend. There is Leclerc. And this is a good one. This is a. Oh my goodness! I
yeah,
think
he's got the potential. He's got the potential.
Yeah, there's Lewis Hamilton. I don't know if you can see those pictures, but I think Lewis needs to concentrate more on his driving than his fashion sense, because his fashion sense is pretty horrendous there. I think stick to a racing suit might be a bit better. Now, Max has said, if you can
I
do
can
better
hear
next,
you fine. It's just obviously you can't hear me very well.
I think it seems to be when you get responses a little bit after I ask the question, but that's fine. No problem at all. But yeah, Max has said, if he can do better next year, he'll be in a Ferrari for 27. Yeah, Ocon, that's true. Behrman, that is true. And Karima said, Behrman or Lawson has definitely been up there for the rookie of the year. Oh, I think Simon has dropped out again. Hopefully he'll get the internet sorted out in a wee second. It's certainly it's good to see. We need lots of competition. We need to see them at their best, and it's good to see the stars coming through. And also the fact that this year, especially in these last few races, the timing between the cars has not been that much. It's only just been a few tenths here and there overall. The grid has been pretty close. So will they carry that over to next year? Well, let's have to wait and see. Now there is Sonoda heading off. He looks miserable. that is not a great photograph for poor old Sonoda. But I mean, he's been around quite a while. But it does seem like they go to Red Bull, and then that's usually either they last there a little while, and then that's it. But yeah, that's his season in F1. Whether he'll come back or not, we'll have to wait and see. And there is Ocon, and I think that's probably his girlfriend there too. And then we've got the Williams drivers of Carlos Sainz and Albon. What the heck was Lewis wearing in that last photo? Oh, good grief. It was pretty terrible. I have to say, yeah, definitely needs to concentrate on his driving rather than his fashion. I don't think any man's going to buy clothes that look like that, certainly. But there we go. And there is Max with his helmet there, sitting on his car, done a phenomenal job all year. But yeah, it's he'll be. He didn't seem too disappointed, to be fair. Now, who is this person here? Well, that's Anna de Armas. Now, I think, did she not wave the checkered flag in one of the Grand Prix recently? But I know she was here, and I think she was interviewed. I don't know if Martin Brundle interviewed her or not. But she's been in a lot of movies recently. In fact, she was in Ballerina, wasn't it? She was the latest in the John Wick series, which is actually a very good film. I watched that and enjoyed it. And there is Hajar and Alain Prost. Now, look at that, the legend, 4 times world champion, Alain Prost, and then Hajar. And for a long time, we didn't have any French drivers, isn't it? We only had Ocon in the last few years, but then Hajar, another French driver. And of course, if Roux had been here, he would have said, because I always put Leclerc as a French driver, and then he tells me off because he's from Monaco, which is true. So he's not actually French. But those two, and will Hajar be a star of the future? I think certainly, again, very, very strong performance by him. Now, let's have a look and see what else we can do. But, we've been going for 42 minutes. So I think the key thing is, who is going to be world champion for next year? Who do you think is going to be in the top slot? Do you think it's going to be Mercedes with George Russell and Antonelli? Do you think they're going to get the regulations right, and Mercedes could be very strong? Max is saying Alan is still the only French champion. Yes, that is true, because I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any other one, is there? But so Nutcapper said George Russell. Helen says, I'm not sure what to think about Hajar, to be honest. He has done some pretty good performances. I mean, they've been up there in the top 10 quite a lot. And that Racing Bull is pretty good. But he's probably maybe happy that he's not actually at Red Bull, because that's going to be no Red Bull. Nobody wants that second seat at Red Bull, because it's usually a death knell to their Formula One career. In the last few years, certainly it's been pretty difficult. But I think George Russell could be very, very good next year. I think the Alpines might do a bit better. I think the Aston Martins might do a lot better. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but in the last little while, the last few races, Stroll has had so many incidents and has been constantly being noted by the stewards. I kind of wonder how much longer will he be employed. I know it's his father owns the team, but even then, you kind of think, how much can he actually give to him? Eventually, that time will surely have to come up, and they'll have to get somebody else in there that can take the team a bit forward, because there's an awful lot of comings togethers with Stroll and others. Audi to surprise everyone and hit the ground running. Well, you do wonder, isn't it? Because they've got the old Sauber running gear, and that car was pretty strong. in this part of the season, especially the latter part with Hulkenberg getting that fantastic podium in Britain earlier in the year, which is a great result. I was so pleased for him. You just wonder, it's going to be, it's an interesting one for sure. That it's this, as long as we get good close races, of course, no more DRS. People are going to have to overtake without it. So that means proper kind of late braking, lots of maneuvers. That might lead to more coming togethers, because if they have to lock up the brakes and go for it without DRS, you kind of wonder, will there be a few more do or die moves to try and get positions? Will it be in Melbourne in March next year? What's going to happen? Are they going to be? It'll be very, very interesting. I don't know who actually watched all of the testing. In fact, they'll no doubt have. If I go on to the Formula One news here, this is after the payment tier on Autosport. We can see how it has gone. Now there should be a bit here on the testing, but it doesn't say anything here. I'm looking to see the results. I'll look on the photo galleries. Here we are. I can go into post-season and we can see what's there, but there isn't actually an awful lot going on there, just pictures of the drivers. But I know they're testing all sorts of new parts to try and get it to kind of see what they're going to do. I'm not sure if who was fastest, because Autosport's not showing me the results of testing if they've had any there. That now Helen is saying no DRS might prove to make more interesting racing. We can only hope. Yes, and hopefully the actual editors will actually show us those crucial battles, because most of the time they do tend to miss them. At least, although all they did was kind of show us the top three. I suppose that's where the championship was being decided, but there was still quite a lot going on throughout that race. But yes, it would be nice to see that improve and see how we get on. But yes, it's certainly. I'm just trying to see if there's any other news in here that we can quickly catch up on. Now we want it to be. In fact, I think let's have a look at the calendar. Will they have next year's calendar? This is the 2025 one. Can they have 2026? Yes, they do. So the pre-season testing in Barcelona is the 30th of January. So that will be when we'll start to find out who is doing well. And Bahrain pre-season testing is on the 13th of February. And then the second test is the 20th of February. And then on the 8th of March, we will have the Australian Grand Prix. So it's got we've got a good 3 months to go. Or just under, just under 3 months to go. And we will be on the grid. Now, let us know in the comments if you would like us to do more Grand Prix watch-alongs, because we did that once this year with Simon and myself. 8th of March we've got here, that it's going to be the Australian Grand Prix. No doubt that will be about 3 or 4 in the morning if you're kind of British time, or thereabouts, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, perhaps if it's European time. And then we go on to the Chinese Grand Prix on the 15th of March. So, in fact, we've pretty much got, double header, Australian GP, and then right next, the week later, then it's China, and then we've got Japan on the 29th of March, and then Bahrain on the 12th of April. And Simon's saying, sorry, Hugh, the 4G couldn't quite hold up. We'll have to get you on a better package there, Simon. I'll need to speak to you about that later on, but not to worry. Beyond them, what are the rules on qualifying with 2 added cars? That is a very good question. Yes, because it'll be the top. Well, normally it's the top 15 that go through in the first one, and then the top 10, top 22. Well, the top 7, there'll be 7 knocked out, I presume, after the first qualifying, and then it will go into then it'll be the top 10. So another 5 will go after that, and then it's the last 10 to see how it goes. But it's going to be interesting with Cadillac there, and Audi taking over from Sauber. It's certainly, I think there'll be. I wonder if it will be very, very close, like it's been this year, or is it going to be some teams that will have a clear advantage on the new regulations? That we'll have to wait and see. But let me know what you think. I'm always keen to hear what you have to say, and we will certainly do it. Back to 16 for qualifying 2. So they're getting a little bit more for a second qualifying. And you say, my birthday's in March. I will be in need of a holiday by then. Yes, so is mine. Mine's on the 27th of March. So yes, it'll be just on that weekend. So that'll be quite nice, actually, to see the race at that time. I'm just looking at all the different races. We've got the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Bahrain, Miami. I don't think there's anything that we haven't had before. For example, the British Grand Prix is on the 5th of July this year. The Dutch Grand Prix is the 23rd of August. Now, when is looking at the fact the Hungarian Grand Prix is on the 26th of July, and then you've got pretty much a month. So that's when the summer break will be. South African here. When do you think there will be an African race? Yes, I know we were talking about this on the South African Motorsport Association, the Sim Motorsport Association streams. It would be great because Kyalami is famous, hugely famous for hosting Formula One, but we need a race there. Because I think it would be a great one. We've got so many races that I don't think are that great. Like Qatar's never. Although it's maybe I don't know if the drivers enjoy it or not, but it's not much of a race to watch. I think Kyalami would be a great one. And and wish everyone a happy St. Michael Massey Day for tomorrow. Yeah, I don't think he's on many people's Christmas card lists, unless you're Max Verstappen. That I suppose Kyalami is the only option, says Simon. I don't think there's any other tracks unless our viewers can tell us of any other tracks that might be available. Certainly that's the one that they've had in the past. I do like Azerbaijan, though. I have to say, I do like that. I think that they say that's the cheap Monaco. If you can get to Azerbaijan, it's usually a great race, and it's quite cheap. Now, we had a champion back in the day. Of course, Clan would be great. Cape Town for a street race will be taking over the traditional racetracks, and that's in your personal opinion. Keith is here. Good to see you. Fun season to actually have competition. The comments are coming thick and fast. And Simon is saying up to Formula One standards. And Max says, unless they can gym up another street circuit. And Fred Bridgen says, good evening, Q. It's good to see you, Fred. I hope you're well, and welcome along to our F1 and Motorsport review. It's been a phenomenal one. We've been going for over 50 minutes. Simon was here, but unfortunately his internet gave up. So I'm here on my own, but I'm doing my best. And we're going over all the Grand Prix of next year. The first Grand Prix is on the 8th of March, which is going to be in Melbourne. So make sure you're up early in the morning for that. But I think the only people who will be able to watch that at a normal time will be in Australia or New Zealand, perhaps, or maybe Japan, because they're only a few hours away. I think they're a few hours ahead, or are they a few hours behind? They're a few hours behind. I think possibly. Because the Japanese Grand Prix is normally about 6 o'clock in the morning or thereabouts. It's lots to see. We've got the Italian Grand Prix on the 6th of September. That's when the schools go back. And the Spanish Grand Prix we've got here on the 13th of September. That's very, very late. I suppose maybe in Barcelona it's still pretty warm in September, isn't it? But that's very late, so they must have moved that. Then we've got Singapore, the 11th of October, United States GP in Texas on the 25th, Mexican Grand Prix on the 1st of November, and Sao Paulo in Brazil on the 8th of November. Vegas, 21st of November, Qatar GP on the 29th of November. That's my wife's birthday, so I better remember that. Make sure that'll be an interesting one to cover. Make sure I've got the presents for the wife, first of all. And then Abu Dhabi is on the 6th of December. So it really does go through the whole year, isn't it? It's a long season. It used to finish in the middle of October, but not anymore. Now, be honest, I heard that drivers will be very on edge about losing front wings now that they do so much more. Do I agree? Yes. I wonder, because we were saying earlier, because there's no DRS, I think people will be doing a lot more to overtake, and there could be more comings togethers or more crashes as people come into hairpins and everything else, because they'll be desperate to go, and they might need that little bit extra space on the track to be able to get through. But if that's true, isn't it, that the front wings are doing so much more, then certainly that will be, they'll have to take care of it. Otherwise, they'll be in big trouble. I used to love when you used to have the spare car. So if there was a big crash at the start, the drivers would run back to the pits and get their spare car and then get back in the race and then restart and off they'd go. But nowadays, we have the reliability is so good. They don't really need that, haven't they? They've cut the cost so much. Things are much more efficient. And it's quite rare that you have maybe more than 2 or 3 drivers not finishing the race. But certainly, we'll have to see. That now, so we've gone over the that's local time, your time. Yeah, that's the same one as that. We'll go over all the F1 details. Let's have a look to see if there's anything else. No, there's been some driver ratings as well. Now, according to Autosport readers, Max Verstappen is still the #1 driver. And I think certainly with his performance this year, you can't deny he's done a very, very good job there. Oh, now, Bjorn said, I heard that Ru, he's just woken up on the chair. Ru, you've missed the show. You're at how many races will Hadjar get? Unless this has been discussed. Well, I mean, it's that second seat, isn't it? At Red Bull, that's always the death knell of any F1 driver's hopes. You're kind of wondering, did they pull the straw out of the hat to see who's going to get it this time? But not to worry, Ru, we'll get you back in the new year when we'll be doing many more F1 reviews. In second place, Oscar Piastri is similarly second most liked in Autosport from Autosport fans. And then Charles Leclerc in third place, and Lando Norris is in fourth place, with George Russell fifth and Fernando Alonso sixth. Nico Hülkenberg is seventh, Isaac Hadjar is eighth, and Carlos Sainz is ninth, with Oliver Behrman rounding off the top 10 in 10th. So yeah, it's interesting. And Antonelli is 11th, then Ocon is 12th, Albon is 13th, Gasly is 14th. Lewis Hamilton is only the 15th favourite driver, according to Autosport fans. Now that is a shocker, an absolute shocker. That I mean, he's just ahead of Liam Lawson and Bortello. Now I have to say, Bortoletto did a great job this year. I think he has been. The rookies have actually done pretty well, and I would say that Bortello has done a great job. Lance Stroll is in 18th, Colapinto 19th, and Tsunoda is 20th, and Jack Doohan 21st. Now, here we have, Bjorn, do you think it was harsh to get rid of Yuki, saying he did pretty good at VCARB? It's very hard. I mean, I thought they may have put him back at VCARB if that was, because they really have they're pretty ruthless when they just get rid of people. And you think, he probably deserved a lot more than that. But yeah, because it's a pity that once they're out of F1, it's very, very hard to get back in. Unless you're, I mean, even, what was his name? The Mexican who's coming back next year with Cadillac. Or the year after with Cadillac, that's going to be Perez. He was very fortunate to get back in again. Same with Valtteri Bottas, but I don't know if Tsunoda is going to be able to carry that on. Now, Nat Cap has asked me, am I doing commentary for SMA? I think I will be filling in for the odd few days as well, maybe more. But yes, so hopefully I was talking to Robin a few weeks back, and we're definitely going to continue on doing the interviews, and I'm sure we'll get some commentary alongside hopefully Sean as well, which would be really, really good. And Rua said, Hadjar, big nose, maybe good, but a bit too full of himself. I've not really seen so many interviews with him, to be fair, so I don't really know much about his character or how he performs in that way, but we'll see. And Max has said, that would be good for the second RBR seat. And Born has given me that name that I was looking for, Perez, which is true. Yuki said he regretted leaving a good car for that Red Bull. Yeah, I just think they can't get their grip to it because, as you say, it's made for Max, and he's got that kind of skill, and he's made the car to suit him. A bit like Schumacher did against like Irvine and Barrichello. Schumacher always had that advantage. And whatever driver they put with him, it was never going to be the same. Schumacher would always be very good, and he stayed as long as he knew that he could be competitive. I was surprised that he actually left in 2006, I think it was, wasn't it, his last year, when Alonso won his second title. Because I always thought Schumacher had a little bit more, and when he went away for a few years, maybe those would have been crucial years. But then coming back in 2010, I think it was just too much after that. But Yuki had this. Yuki had this last chance to save his career, to be honest. Yeah, it was because some drivers you just see they're not maybe going to go as far, aren't they? They've kind of reached their limit. Still very, very good. I mean, who are we to judge them in that way? But you just can tell they're maybe doesn't quite have what the other drivers do, although it was consistent, especially at Racing Bull, was very, very good there. And I'm thinking of the in-car radio with Hadjar. I'll need to listen to some of that. But yeah, even Max hated that Red Bull. I mean, certainly he's very vocal, isn't it? If he says this isn't working, the tires are done, the brakes, it's shaking, it's vibrating, it's doing all sorts of things, and he's very vocal with his engineers. But then he still seems to he gets the best out of them, and they do seem to make it work for him. And Helen has said that Red Bull seat is essentially a death sentence for anyone who takes it on. Yeah, it's certainly, it will always be in how many memoirs will be listed that Red Bull, that second Red Bull seat was the worst decision of my life, says Yuki Tsunoda. Says Liam Lawson. Says how many others? You could list them in the comments as to how many drivers would regret taking that second seat. And the last race, it was actually bouncing along. That's true. If you can manage to get results, it would have gone in his favour for a future return. Yeah, I wonder. Because even at Racing Bulls, they're pretty harsh there. If people don't perform, even after a few races, it can all disappear, and before you know it, you're out of a job. And yeah, it's going to be something. Now, what's been quite interesting, we've not had that many wet races this year, did we? I'm just trying to think how many races were actually wet. Yeah, because in the past we did have one Singapore race. Remember, there was a Singapore race, that big one when Vettel crashed into Raikkonen, and then Lewis ended up taking the lead. But we don't have that many wet races this year. Now, Bjorn is asking, are there any worries about tyre wear being too high or too little next year? We have just spent a few years on tyre relations to car regulations. And now we have new tyres again with new regs. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, they had to limit the tyre usage in Qatar, which I think is a bit of a, just let them change the tyres. Was the wear that bad? I don't think people were reporting that the tyres were completely done. Yeah, I mean, we need tyre wars. You need maybe more than one manufacturer to come in. I mean, it used to be Bridgestone, but it was Goodyear. I remember Goodyear Eagles, and they had a great catch line because it said Goodyear, fly with the Eagles. And that's kind of the motor racing way, isn't it? At their best performance. But yeah, because this tire, they go quite far and then it just drops off. Or like the hard tires seem to be going quite well on a lot of races, especially these nighttime races that we've had over the last wee while. But yeah, no, it's been pretty good. Well, we've been going for over an hour, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please add a like if you're watching on Portrait or Horizontal or on Kick or anywhere else for that matter that we've been streaming out to. It'd be great to get to a like and subscribe to the channel if you like Formula One content and also gaming content, because we also stream that out as well. And we've got so many new games that we want to play and want to stream. So let us know what ones you would like. We've got F1 25, we've got NASCAR 25. I've got Automobilista 2. I've got Project Motor Racing, which I've actually quite enjoyed. I've won a couple of races on that. So I'm hoping to stream some of that as well. I'm trying to think what else we've got. I've got Le Mans Ultimate, which is okay. I'm kind of here and there on it on the fixed races. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you would like us to stream more of those games. Also GT7, which has kind of been our original game that we've played on and off for so long as well. And of course, we always have our F1 sports commentary and our reviews of the season as it goes. But I'd like to take this time to thank everybody who's been watching, everyone who's subscribed to our channel this year and more, and who's been with us for a long, long time. It's been a pleasure to do our streams with you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a wonderful Christmas and New Year, and we'll look forward to seeing you again early next year. We'll be back with more streams, with more F1 shows, and we'll have Rue and Simon. And they'll be back in the new year with me as well. And perhaps if there are those lurking in the audience out there who would like to come on the show, then let us know. You can send me an email at hughhatrick@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you, and we can maybe get you on the show if you're a bit of an F1 encyclopedia like Simon and Rue there. And that says bye, Hugh. I'll see you next year. Thanks for the streams. It's been fantastic to have you along. Thank you so much. Remember our motto: drive fast, don't crash. And we'll see you very soon. Bye just now.